Hi, my name is Matthew Dion, and I'm here on behalf of the Organ Completion Committee at Christ Congregational Church in Brockton. I'm seated here at Opus 2795, Austin, Oregon, at the church, and today we're going to be talking about the choir division, the uncompleted choir division in this organ, which will really add to the sound that it makes in this church. So, here I am seated at the organ. We have three manuals here, and you'll notice they have different names. This one's called the swell, the middle is called the great keyboard, and the bottom is the choir manual, which has not been completed at this current stage. We are looking at this time to begin that stage of the project, to complete this instrument, and it will come to a total of 38 ranks, probably around roughly 2,500 pipes in the end of it. The organ is set up. This organ is set up into four main divisions, and they each have a specific job. The main division of the organ is the great division, which is in the middle, which has a lot of principal sounds that you would hear, and a lot of times you use these to accompany hymns, or something like that. Very much, mostly the loudest instrument of the organ, loudest division of the organ, which would be used in that facet. Then you have the swell division, which is usually just as large, which has a lot of the softer accompanying stops. And the very big difference about the swell division is that it's enclosed in a box, so you can control the volume by a foot pedal. A very different mechanism. And it has a lot of different sounds in it, most of the time used for choir accompanying and various facets. Similar to the great, it has a lot of the similar stops. It also has reeds, very loud, for example. The next division, of course, is the pedal division, which is for your feet. All different sounds that sort of encompass the whole instrument that you would want to have to go with the whole instrument. Now, the choir division has a special spot in an instrument, especially this organ here. The choir division, while it is used to accompany a choir, which is important, it's also where a lot of the color stops in the instrument are found, such as the mutations and the reeds. For example, there's a stop in the choir division that hasn't been installed yet. It's called the cromorn, or basically it's a clarinet. And that stop is very very beautiful, adds to a lot of color and a lot of literature. And right now we don't have that. Let's see, what else? There's a larigo, a 1 1/3, which hasn't been installed. Another string and celeste. You heard these in the swell before. You'll hear another set of these in the choir division, which will really add to the way the choir is accompanied. It's kind of interesting, too, because if you were in an English cathedral, a lot of times the choir division would be right above the choir in the chancel, where they'd be singing, and through that, they'd be able to hear it. Now, this organ's a little different. It's a little spread out all along one wall. It's all in one specific spot. But it'll add a nice stereo effect, because right now we only have pipes on that side and in the middle, not on this side. The stereo effect will really add to it. You'll really get a new dynamic range of the organ. In the organ, there are four basic principal sounds in an organ. You have the principal family, you have the string family, you have the flute family, and you have the reed family. Okay, so the principal is like your regular principal sound on an organ. Then you have the flute sound, the flute, a string, and then you have there are two different types of reeds. You have the color or imitative reeds or a chorus reed. A chorus reed would be like a trumpet. Now, a color reed could be an oboe, for example. Now, there is a color reed in the choir division that hasn't been installed yet, like I said before, the cromorn or the clarinet, which will add really to it. One of the biggest things for an organist when you're playing literature is you're looking for specific colors. Each of these combinations that you set up have a different idea behind them. They have a different palette of sound. The organ has such a dynamic range and has such a color range that you want to be able to have all of those there. So here's a basic demonstration of what's missing. So here I am playing on the grate, which has the sounds already installed. And this would be a regular 2-manual organ, like 2 keyboards with different sounds. Now, on a regular instrument that was completed, you would have sound down here. But notice how I press down and nothing happens. While I have stops pulled over here for this division, nothing happens. So, now there is a way to remedy that in its current state. However, it's not necessarily completely practical. You can couple the divisions from the top down. However, once the organ is finished, you'll have all of these extra colors here, which can be brought around to any division of the organ. Now, they're just not there. You can't hear them. Nothing happens. So basically, this manual is dormant until something is put in. It can be used as the coupling manual itself, but that's the same sound as here. It's the same sound. You're not getting the whole tonal aspect of the organ. In Brockton, I have the specification here that I'm looking at. The choir division, when installed, will have a beautiful 8-foot flute, which this organ has in the choir division. Very pretty. We'll also have a beautiful string with its celeste rank, which is very pretty. It makes the nice warbly sound. Then you'll have a 4-foot principal. Now, this choir division has a little bit of a hybrid. It's more of a 4-foot string, but it gives the same idea. Another flute at 4 foot. Also have a piccolo, which is a nice 2-foot flute, as well as a mixture, which this organ doesn't have. Now, one of my favorite stops in this organ, and one that Christ Church would have, is the clarinet, which is very pretty. Stop. And Christ Church would be able to have one of these. So, it really does add a lot of color to the instrument when you have these different stops and different styles in it, because you have more options, and that's what's really great for an organist. As for a corrigant, you'll get to hear a lot more different things.